Hey you guys, in this video I'm going to be tapping, scratching and making little sounds with all the ingredients for a dish called Eggplant Parmesan. Eggplant Parmesan is an Italian dish that typically is made in a bit of a different way than I'm going to make it today. I'm kind of making a healthier version, I guess you could say. For me, it's mainly because it's just easier. It takes less time this way. So, the first ingredient is obviously a pack of eggplant. There's 3 in this pack. This is just a saran wrap that comes around the packaging. So I'm going to eventually be cooking with you guys as well. We're starting off just showing you the ingredients, tapping and scratching, and we'll just show different smaller portions of the cooking process as well. I love the sound of these styrofoam like containers or trays, I guess you could say. Okay, so there's 3 eggplant here. I will put like a general recipe that I use in the description box, but it's kind of I kind of go as I go. I don't really use a recipe, so I'm just going to share what I generally do in the description if you ever want to recreate this. But start with some eggplant. For the portion I'm making, 3 is going to be fine. And you'll see by the end what the final dish looks like, and it could feed probably 5 people if you had like a salad and some bread with it or something, for one meal. I usually just make it and I eat it through the week, and probably for me it could do 6 meals. Typically there's a process of breading the eggplant and then frying it, but I'm actually just going to simply saute the eggplant without doing the breading process first. And again, it's just because it's easier. Both are delicious. It's amazing when you do the breading and frying process too, but this is also quite good. The little, I don't know if you call that a leaf for eggplant, I'm not sure. These bits are very rubbery on the bottom, but then kind of on the top portion they'll break and they'll like crack like that. It's a really interesting texture. Eggplant in general is just a really interesting texture. I love eggplant. There's an amazing Thai dish with eggplant that's probably one of my favourite ways to have eggplant, and then actually my favourite Egyptian meal is with eggplant also. It's called moussaka, and it's got eggplant, ground beef, red sauce, chilies, what else? I can't think of any other ingredients anyway. It's delicious. You have it with rice. Maybe, yeah, tomatoes also. Look at the colour of this one. It's so pretty. The eggplant has an interesting sound because it's like such a light material on the inside. It's very like foam-like in a sense, so it sounds like it's empty a bit. I actually have a video coming up of just tapping and scratching on styrofoam on a tray like this one. I'm going to see if you can catch what I'm spelling. Okay, one more word, and I'm going to see if you can guess, and I'll tell you after I finish. Okay, did you be able to catch that tracing? It was let's make eggplant parmesan. The next ingredient is actually mozzarella cheese. I actually wish I had 2 packs of cheese, because I'm still kind of new to buying certain things here in Egypt, which is where I live. I didn't really know how much was going to come in this pack. It did have the amount, but my brain didn't really like compute if it was going to be quite enough, so I wish I had gotten actually 2 bags, because I just like a lot of cheese. If you like a regular amount of cheese, this is fine, but if you like a lot, you're going to want maybe double the amount. This is already shredded. Usually in the US I purchase just a block of the mozzarella cheese and shred it myself, but in this case I actually got some that's already shredded. Because in the US this would be much more expensive than the block, but here it's pretty reasonable to get a packet like this that's already shredded. Okay, next you're going to want some pasta sauce, or in this case this says pizza sauce, but typically I use pasta sauce. I just could not find any on this particular website that I use that does like groceries that you can order. It's a great website called Breadfast here in Egypt, and it's just the same prices for everything that you would pay in store, but you get it delivered for like this tiniest amount. I pay more to go to the grocery store in a taxi and then back than I do the delivery fee, so it's really amazing. So yeah, this is actually a pizza sauce, and it works perfectly fine too. It's by Heinz. I haven't made it like the proper way for quite some time, but if I'm remembering correctly, typically after slicing the eggplant you would use like whip up a few eggs and do dip the eggplant in the egg and then dip it in breadcrumbs, and then you fry it in oil, and then you layer from there. This is a layered dish. That's the Arabic of pizza sauce. So you've got sauce, cheese, eggplant, and you layer as you go, and then you bake it all. So first thing is you've got to get the eggplant cooked up. Got a few more ingredients, but I'm going to show those to you after slicing the eggplant. So I've got a towel down on the table with a cutting board on top. Just simply slice through. You're actually going to do about, I don't know if it's about ½ inch for each of your slices. So pretty. There's just nothing quite like eggplant. It's such a unique texture. It basically takes on the flavour of anything you're cooking with. So any spices, any flavours that you add, it's going to take on the flavour. It doesn't have tons of flavour on its own. It's kind of like a vegetable version of tofu, honestly, where it can take on any flavour you add to it. So we've got one sliced up. Get the others sliced up in a moment. Fruits and vegetables truly amaze me. When you look at the detail that goes into each one, they're so unique. Different flavours, different textures, different everything. They're all so unique. Amazes me. Okay, we're slicing the next one here. Doesn't it kind of just amaze you, all the different options there are, different kinds of, and the seasons that they grow in are fitting for our bodies, and very watery, refreshing things in the summer, heavier, filling things during the winter. It's beautiful. I'm just amazed by the things that God has made and how special each one is. And unique each one is. Ooh, that sounded good. I know some of you are probably thinking about the reality that I do not have a great knife. But that's okay. I don't actually use it all that often on, it's, where I need it to be amazing, but this apartment actually came with it furnished, and so it had most of the pots and pans and things, but it didn't have a good knife. So this is actually my good knife that I purchased from IKEA. And by good I mean very average, but it's better than what was available. The seed sounds so nice. Kind of looks like a little brain or something. It's fascinating. And the seeds are delicious. They add texture. Okay, so now we've got the salt. You're going to need a little bit of salt. You don't need, but it does help to add some nice flavour, bring out the flavours. So I use this just to sprinkle a bit of salt on the eggplant as it's sautéing. And yeah, you don't have to add a ton. Salt also removes excess water when you're cooking the eggplant. And I have a few, I guess, techniques you could say that I use when I'm cooking the eggplant. Because when I first started cooking, I didn't realise like eggplant soaks up everything, every liquid you put next to it, soaks it up like a sponge. And so once you put some oil on the bottom of your pan to sauté it, it's gone in an instant. And you feel like you have to keep adding oil so it doesn't burn at some point. But I just use water as a little trick to do that. So I'll show you in a moment. I've got the oil here though. This is olive oil. You can use whatever oil you want, but olive oil is really nice with Italian foods. And it is healthier. I go through this stuff quite a bit because I use it as dressing for most of my salads. I add a bit of olive oil and balsamic vinegar with a tiny bit of salt as a dressing to a lot of salads lately, and it's just delicious. Bottle is like ASMR magic. I love every sound that this bottle makes. There's like ridges and scratchy bits, and the cap sounds amazing. Okay, so we're gonna go to the cooking portion. I know that my pan is not very beautiful, I'm sorry. Okay, so we've added some oil, eggplant, and just put a bit of salt on the top of the eggplant, like I said, for flavour, and it will also kind of get rid of some extra water. This is the point when I actually add water, because it gets to the point where it's sticking to the pan and you don't want to have to keep adding oil. So ironically, add a bit of salt for flavour and you get rid of extra oil from the eggplant, but then once it dries like this, add a bit more water instead of oil. Might have to try it a few times before you get it right, but all that water will evaporate. See how it's just evaporating slowly and your eggplant is cooking nicely. That's what it's going to look like when they're done. And this way you use just kind of a regular amount of oil. This is another batch. Dependent on the size of your pan, you can usually place about 4 to 6 slices in each round of sautéing. And whatever this is called, that's not really sautéing, is it? But okay, so you're going to grab your pan and some of your sauce. Usually you want to start with the first layer being sauce, because you don't want anything to stick to the bottom of the pan. So just spread it out, and just a light bit. Again, it's just so things don't stick. Then you've got your beautiful eggplant. It should be just a bit browned. and cooked all the way through. but still sturdy, almost like a steak, almost like an eggplant steak, if you will, an eggplant burger. Go ahead and layer your eggplant. And for a dish this big, you're going to have like 2 layers of everything. So this is your first layer of sauce, first layer of eggplant, and then you just simply add the cheese as your third layer. So again, normally I would add maybe 1.5 of these packages, not quite 2 or 1 3/4, but 1 was not enough for me. That's definitely not enough, but I kind of needed to leave some for the second layer of cheese. If you've never had this before, it is, and if you like Italian food and you've never had this, you'll probably really like it. But you do kind of have to be an eggplant person. I think you kind of, if you don't like eggplant texture, then that could be an issue. But if you love it, you'll love this. Second layer of eggplant. Yeah, you just want to go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know Celsius, what that is equivalent in Celsius. In fact, my oven here in Egypt literally has there's no Celsius or Fahrenheit. It's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you just have to like guess. So technically, this is actually a third layer of sauce. You do 3 layers because the bottom is like a non-stick layer. You could put some oil down, but it's nice to just have some sauce. So it technically goes sauce on the very bottom of the pan, then you start your layering actually. So after that, then you do eggplant sauce cheese, eggplant sauce cheese, and that's it. It's quite simple, but it does take time. You know, this is a dish that takes some time. And imagine if you're doing it the long way, you're dipping each eggplant bit into some egg and then breadcrumbs and then frying. This is the final dish, you guys. You want to cook it until the cheese is like browning on top. Oh my gosh, it's amazing, you guys. I'm just going to dish it up and take a little bite for you. Oh my gosh, look at the steam. I want to eat it all. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you would like more cooking videos like this, like ASMR cooking videos, let me know and I can certainly do that for you. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night. It's absolutely delicious. I hope you get to try it. This is just a picture of the final dish. Bye for now.